Thank you, Max, so much. Thank you to the Hewitt School for hosting this event. Thank you for the TEDxYouth Hewitt curatorial team. I had to practice that many, many times. For putting together this utterly inspiring forum for power for youth. It's really remarkable. Thank you to all the students who are here, because really we are celebrating not just the work that you have done, but the work that we know you are going to continue to do to make this world a better place. So I'm really thrilled and honored to be here. I have worked with young people for the last 17 years to help them find their power through service and volunteering. And so it really is a special honor, particularly since a number of those kids actually were some incredible women, young women who came from the Hewitt School to work on various projects that we've done. So it is a real honor to be able to talk today about a topic that means so much to me. And that topic is service, which is really simply applied learning and problem solving. And this is really a key building block for social and emotional development, for critical thinking, and for leadership. Now, while it may seem obvious to us, especially after we've had Adora telling this, most kids and most adults really don't get that young people can make a difference from an early age. They don't have to be grown up to start to change the world. And the other piece that they don't understand is that service, learning, and volunteering actually are crucial educational pieces that help to mold a truly educated citizen, someone who is going to be able to contribute and give back. And it doesn't matter what the background is, this is an essential part of forming that educated child. And there is research to back this up. And that is why I have devoted so much of my time to working in this area to create those opportunities for young kids to get involved, like an Adora, to be able to give back. And yet what I have found is that because service is so simple and so accessible, so feel good, its value often gets overlooked. It's not the cherry that goes on top of the cake. It's actually the baking powder that makes the cake rise and magically has all the other ingredients work together. So it is an effort and a challenge to get people to understand how important service is from an early age, and getting kids involved so that they can learn the power of their own voice and make a difference. What I'd like to do is show you a little bit about where Children for Children, which is what I had started here in New York to get kids engaged, and it has been grown into Generation On, which is the international youth service arm for Points of Light Institute. So I would love for you to see kind of where we are today, and then I would like to give you just kind of a few key takeaways to give you. As the last privileged speaker, I'm not going to try to talk to you too much, but I want you to take some ideas that have really distilled for me over the years, and I think are just so important, some more obvious than other ones. So let's take a look at the video.
Kids can be great because all kids can serve. By helping others, they develop the attitudes and skills to succeed in school and life. Kids who volunteer become more confident, better problem solvers, and more caring and connected. And youth services strengthens schools and communities.
Young people have the most incredible potential for creating change in their community.
It's a very exciting thing to watch a child realizing that they can, in fact, change the world.
Fixing our schoolyard. Good job.
Good job.
I hope to buy a ski for children in Africa.
There are many reasons to serve. While the kids start giving back early in life, they grow to become more responsible, aware, and caring adults. Launched in October 2010, Generation On is the youth division of Points of Light, with a mission to inspire, equip, and mobilize youth to take action that changes the world and themselves through service.
By helping the community, I will donate clothes to the homeless. I will help people that don't have nothing.
I will help out the needy, and I'm a part of Generation On.
Community service is my quote-unquote Harvard and Yale. You can learn everything through community service.
It's just one of the most important things to do, is to give back. You can't just think of yourself. You have to think of others too.
Our kids, for the most part, don't have a lot. And many times they shy away because they think that they're not good enough to do anything. And when they get an opportunity to create something, and be part of something big, and something so fulfilling, you have to see the expression on their faces.
I learned and I could make other things.
There's always something you can do.
I like being part of something. Life is all about kindness and respect and love.
This is all about you, it's about kids, it's about families, it's about teachers, businesses, organizations, coming together, working with kids, because you're going to help us change the world.
Generation On brings the nation's leading youth service organizations and programs together under one umbrella to provide young people, parents, educators, and community organizations with a centralized resource for helping youth become leaders and problem solvers, successful students, and active community members.
It's really important for the students to be invested in their community, not just their school, but the community around them. So that they learn to take care of it and to appreciate it and to give back. It's about time, energy, and passion. So they learn very young that they will always have something they can do.
Identifying social issues and becoming part of the solution is a uniquely powerful form of education. It teaches the value of community, the need for empathy, and the power of collaboration.
Generation On can really show you how to make a difference in your community. And since we're youth, we can't always do things by yourself, so they kind of give you like a little push to encourage you to more.
Generation On supports this service line by providing teachers, schools, and after-school programs across the country with project ideas and lesson plans, guidance on making service part of core academics, and grants to cover the costs of volunteering.
Service is more than a cultural value. It is an essential tool to the development of the next generation and a powerful lever for the education and life success of all children.
Service is boundless. It can happen in schools, neighborhoods, backyards, and beyond. Generation On supports young people ages 3 to 18, wherever and however they reach out to help those in need.
You are Generation On.
Today's theme, Dream Big, Now Do Something, reminds me of one of my favorite quotations from Eleanor Roosevelt, who said that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So my first takeaway is that you should dream as big as you can, because you are the only one who can limit your potential. So don't listen if a teacher tells you you can't do something, or maybe you should try something else. If it's something that you really believe is your calling, you are the only one who can limit the size of your dreams. Now, I recently met an extraordinary young woman who really embodies a lot of the meaning behind these words. She took on an issue that she was passionate about, which was global hunger. And she combined that with her love of fashion and created a company to be able to help make a difference in that area. This young woman is Lauren Bush Lauren, who's actually the daughter of Neil, who you saw up there, and she's unbelievable. She co-founded an organization called Feed Projects, which is a charitable for-profit company, and its mission is to use part of its proceeds and donations to go to provide meals for children who don't have them, and they have given to date over 65 million school meals to children around the world who would otherwise be going hungry. Lauren dared to dream big. Just last night, I was at dinner and someone was telling me about a young 23-year-old woman who is in Detroit, and she has just come up with an idea because of, the economy is very hard. It's hit Detroit very hard. Homelessness and issues like that were particularly on her mind. She has come up with a design for a puffy coat that can zip out and become a sleeping bag. And she's gotten a lot of interest already from different companies who are thinking about developing this idea, and I just got chill bumps. So, how creative is that? And it's kind of obvious if you think about it, but it's not, and she put all this together. In both of these cases, you can see how the creators of these ideas have matched a need and a dream that they saw, and they put it together and created a career. So my second takeaway is really that the three-part service learning model, which is proactively identifying a problem and coming up with solutions, acting to carry out your solution, and then third, thinking about what you did, what worked, what didn't work, what more you could do. That three-part model really is quite an ideal framework and training for approaching your careers creatively and entrepreneurially. And with all the technological change that is going on today, all it's like tectonic plates are moving on the economic front and then the societal front. So nothing is the same and nothing will stay the same. It's just going to be constant change. So in order to be able to face that world, which I think is at once kind of scary, but also incredibly exciting, what you need is you need to be able to take risks. You need to be able to be nimble, and you need to be innovative. And these are all part of that skill set that service teaches. And in the process of doing service and working with a cause, you may very well find your higher purpose, your calling, as Lauren did, and as the young woman in Detroit is doing now. My third takeaway, not to be contradictory from my first, is that big can be little and little can be a lot. And by this, I worry when we use the phrases that you heard in this video, like, you can change the world and we want you to dream big, that it can either be so overwhelming that you don't act because you don't feel like you can come up with that idea, or what you really want to do is something that you feel like is so insignificant that it doesn't really matter. And my big message is that nothing could be further than the truth. Earlier this morning, I was over at PS 166 on the west side, which explains my attire. This is my work outfit. These are my work boots. And I have the face paint on the shoulder, on the arm to show you. We were making some kits for various projects, one of which was a seed. This is a seed. It's going to be a form of grass that is going to sprout, and then it will be planted along the Gowanus Canal to help with the rebuilding of that Gowanus Canal area after Hurricane Sandy. And this is a blanket hug that has been decorated and has a message on it for the kids from the project to help people. What we were doing were a bunch of projects like this with a real Hurricane Sandy focus, but also others as well. These were kid-generated ideas. They were kid-led projects. And we had, you know, hundreds of children and families who were there working on these projects together. Now, none of us individually could do what needs to be done to make right what Hurricane Sandy did to us. But what we did was contribute with our acts to part of this greater effort that will be able to mend us over time. And that's a lot to be able to do. The other piece is that small acts can have a cumulative effect that's big. So you could pick up one piece of trash on a block every day for a year, and you might be able to transform that block from the simple act of just picking up that trash each day, and over time making an area clean and inviting that was once not very hospitable. I remember learning how to ski, and I did this very late in life. I was in law school, and a bunch of friends wanted to go away and go skiing, and so I of course said, oh, that sounds great, I'm going to do it. Well, guess what? I didn't know how to ski. It was a detail. And I will never forget standing up at the top of that mountain and looking down and seeing the bottom below. And I had a true feeling that I was falling off of the mountain. And I was paralyzed. I couldn't do anything except sit there and go, you know, how am I going to get down from here? And I fortunately had a very good friend beside me who said, just focus on the area right in front of your skis and make one turn at a time. And that's the way I got down the mountain, one little turn at a time. I didn't look up, I didn't look at the bottom of the mountain, nowhere after that. Got all the way down to the bottom and looked back up and realized that I had literally conquered the mountain. And it was an awesome feeling. But sometimes when you're doing these projects and you're doing them in the bite size that's right for you and appropriate for the circumstance, sometimes you can't know what the full impact is that you've done until you look back with hindsight, and then you can see how big what you did really was from what seemed to be insignificant and small. And another point, don't get discouraged by comparing your beginning to somebody else's middle. Generation On, we have a fully professionalized staff. We have a multi-million-dollar budget. But Children for Children began at my dining room table in between taking care of 3 children. And that's really the story for every organization. Doesn't matter how big. You can take Teach for America, which seems so established. I remember when that began. You can look at Whole Foods as a for-profit company. All of these start somewhere, and then they get built and grown by hard work, determination, elbow grease, and honestly, time in order to transform something into a sustainable entity. So cut yourself some slack and don't be afraid to embark on the change that you want to see in the world, whatever the size it is, however long it takes. It's all big because you're acting on something that you've dreamed. My 4th takeaway, this really, I guess, has to do with the mindset and approach, and to me this is really important. I have never met a person who does not need the help of someone else at some point in their life, and I've also never met a person who didn't have something that they could give to help someone else. And that is what community is really all about. It's not us and them, it's really we, and working together to help each other. And what made the Generation On event so special for me today was great to do the hundreds of projects that are going to help people. It was so fantastic to have the kids creating the projects and working on the projects. But what was most special for me was that among the kids who were volunteering, we had a number who were actually coming from shelters and don't have homes for themselves, but they still were able to give and wanted to help and reach out to make someone else's life better. So it does not matter where you come from, what your circumstance, you can always contribute something. And my final takeaway is that service should be fun, and it is enormously fulfilling. So what you need to do is you need to find something that gives you joy and share that with someone else. And however much you give, what I promise is that you will receive so much more in terms of satisfaction. You've gotten to hear some amazing speakers today. You've gotten some great ideas. You've gotten some poetry. You've gotten some dreams. And all of these that you have heard either are or can be involved in service. The single biggest reason that kids don't get involved is because they aren't asked. So what I have tried to do, and what Children for Children Generation On tries to do, is to ask and create opportunities again and again, so that as many kids as possible will become engaged and will be able to realize their power to make a difference. So I do hope you will check out our website. I hope anytime you are working with other groups of kids that you will tell them about Generation On, or that you will get them turned on to finding a way to help someone else so that the circle continues to grow. You are our future leaders, but you're also folks that we need to be leaders today. So I do hope that you will kind of hear these words of Anne Frank's, which were, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. So I thank you so much for being here today. Congratulations to you, and go make your mark.